Christina Dorner, last time we talked, you were just under 500,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. You have since surpassed that. You're over 630,000 subscribers. You've been a group fitness instructor for like 30 years. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what are some things that like group fitness instructors who are watching us right now can do within like the first 5 minutes of their class to make people feel more welcome?
Always introduce yourself. Always say your name. Because I was like, these people know me. They come to my class every day, but maybe they don't, right? Maybe somebody's been in my class for a year and didn't know my name. So who knows? Say your name. Also, if you know your class, say every Tuesday you teach the same class, you know who is regular and who isn't. So go over, welcome the person to the class. Also make sure that they know it's all right to modify and it's been somebody's first class. Someone has always been in their first class, right? There's always that person scared in the back, and just make sure they know that they're there, and that's the first step to make sure that they're comfortable coming in. Maybe give them some ideas of what weights to use and let them know that it's okay not to use weights or not to use a step, or but it's good to know the people who's in your class. And there's also sometimes a community in the class where someone who's there all the time does notice that somebody's new and might go up to them and say something, which is very cool. That's what's great about group fitness.
How does that differ from teaching classes on YouTube? Is there a significant difference in making people feel welcome on a YouTube channel?
What's interesting on YouTube is, number one, they can't be seen, right? So they might not even say anything on there, right? I always introduce myself. I always say, don't cry, modify, or don't be shy, modify. And my community is extremely welcoming. If someone does jump on, like this morning, there was like 400 some people on this morning, which was great because of the snow or whatever. And like someone's like, oh, this is my first live. And the next 20 comments are like, welcome, Amy. You're going to love this. So it's actually kind of even cooler, because in person, people might not go up to someone else. But they see somebody new on the live and they're just, this is great, welcome. So it's really interesting.
Almost more personal online than in person.
Yeah.
That's an interesting irony.
Yeah, right? Especially with my regulars, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they see somebody new and oh, welcome. It's nice, nice to have you here. And then that just makes somebody feel like, oh, I can do this. And another thing I say too, at the beginning of a class, whether it's online, I'm like, it's only, like for step especially, it's only a step class. Like, the world isn't going to end if you don't get all the choreography. You can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can just turn it off and go to another one if you want to. Like, those choices are powerful to a person, so to let them know that it's okay I think is important. They don't have to feel defeated by advanced choreography if they're a beginner. If they kind of flail around a little bit and they get it, that's great. And if they don't, then, suggest to go to a more basic one and, figure it out. It'll be all right.
Since you've been teaching group fitness for like 30 years, which is phenomenal, is there a coaching mistake that you made early on that you would maybe share that might help somebody else who is just maybe starting out in group fitness and was like, ooh, I didn't know about that. I should stop doing that.
Always ask questions to the instructors that you look up to, because that's big, and don't be afraid, because if they're nice, then they'll help you. Another thing is, when I started teaching, I was 16 years old. And unfortunately, and I do think that some people go into group fitness thinking this, well, I take the group fitness class, why wouldn't I just go and get paid to teach it? I get paid to exercise. So at 16 years old, I was like, oh, I can make $15 an hour while my friends are making $5 an hour, right? At Rita's Water Ice or something. But you can only really work for 1 hour. And you look at it and you think, this is my workout. Big mistake. Guess what? It's not your workout. Yes, you're working out, but you're the instructor. Your job is to teach a class, not to be there for your workout. And that was as a teenager, I had to learn that. And I think that a lot of instructors, and you can usually tell that instructor that's there for their workout, they tend to stare in the mirror at themselves and do their own thing and don't give modifications. And I hate to say that, but there are instructors like this. But you're there to teach a class for other people's fitness, not your own.
It's a good point, and I've heard similar things in the people who become personal trainers. I like to work out. I think I'll be a good personal trainer, and it doesn't always work out that way. Just liking to work out doesn't make you good at coaching other people when they're exercising.
It's just interesting that over time you do learn these things. Like, it's also humbling when you see someone really, really, really working hard to, and they're trying so hard to get whatever you're doing, or get, do what you're doing, and you're just like, you got this. You realize they don't care if I can do this. They want to be able to do it, right? Important. That's our jobs as trainers and instructors.
Right. And that'll lower the risk of getting injured. And speaking of which, what are some tips that you would give people who, trainers, group fitness instructors, who want to increase the safety of the people in their classes?
Obviously, make sure to tell their people that it's okay to modify. Because even the other day on one of my classes, I was doing something and I modified the weights for myself because I had been doing something, my back was a little sore that day. And so I was like, I'm not going to use weight for this. And someone wrote on the comments afterwards, they were like, I'm happy that you showed us the modification. Now, I always show the modification, but just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Right. So, and the other day, my husband and I have been doing yoga together, which has been great. We've just been doing it on our own. And he's trying to do some of the harder moves sometimes. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, if you're not, because if you're watching a video or something, or someone's watching me, yeah, I might be lifting 25 pounds for chest press. Some days I might need to go lower. Some days I might need to go higher. But make sure they know that it's okay to do what they have to do to make the workout work for them. Again, it's also a powerful choice to say, hey, my back's a little funky today. I'm going to still move, but I'm not going to go crazy.
Right.
And make sure they know that those choices are okay to make for themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be what the trainer's doing.
Before we went live, you were telling me the story about how you were working in the gym and you were teaching 17 classes a week, which is phenomenal, by the way. And you were asking for a raise, and what did they say?
Yeah, the owner of the gym looked at me and he was like, if you want more money, you have to work more. But I was teaching 17 classes a week and training. And as you know, at a gym, usually that time is like 6 a.m. I would train two people, usually 6 and 7. I would teach a class at like 8:15. I'd use 2 to 3 classes in that morning. Then after those classes, I would train 1 or 2 people, go home, work on the next couple classes while I'm at home, because I don't like my classes to all be the same. There's 17 of them, right? I don't want to go in and teach the same exact class all the time. And then I'd go back for a 5 o'clock class and maybe a training or 2, right? So how can I work more? And I am a person with a body that is going to give out on me, so it's almost 40 hours a week, right? And then I go in and I ask for a raise, and he goes, you have to work more. And I looked at him and I just was like, you know what? I can't, I'm giving my month's notice right now. And I did. And I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just got up and walked out. It was like, but yeah.
And that's the hamster wheel of the gym. I mean, they want you to work more to make more. And not all gyms, but I've heard similar stories from other people.
Fitness coordinator ran after me and was like, what are you doing? Why you can't leave? And I was like, I can't work for this. I have to pay my bills, and I have to, and she's like, no. And then she tried to work out a little something, and pretty much they were like, maybe you need to work on your time management. And I will be the first person to tell you that I have horrible time management skills, and I know that. But but at the same time, I was like, but how do I do that? Right? So I just couldn't physically do it anymore. Yeah. I mean, you're just a lot of people get taken advantage of. And actually, when I moved out here to where I am with my husband now, I was working at a small gym, and a lot of the instructors there were kind of afraid of the owner, and he was fine, whatever. He was a fine guy, and so I became their group fitness coordinator very briefly before the shutdown. I would be, one girl was like, "Oh my God, I haven't gotten a raise in 12 years," and I'm like, "And we'll ask for one." And she's like, why, do you know something that I don't? And I go, I know that you haven't gotten a raise and you should ask for one. Even if it's $1, just ask for it. And, I mean, you have to ask and hopefully something good will come out of it.
Yeah, you can't get anything unless you ask for it. I think it's a great thing that I think a lot of fitness people in general, as just group fitness instructors, they struggle with. What's the worst thing that can happen if you ask for a raise? They can say no, and then you know where you stand and you can reevaluate.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
And if you're an instructor that thinks that you're irreplaceable,
yeah.
things might change at that gym, but you're not irreplaceable. They will find someone else to put in your spot, and that's that. You're going to move on and you're going to do what you do with your life, and they'll have what they're doing at their gym. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
When you were teaching the 17 classes a week and you were doing personal training, did you ever notice that you were maybe developing overtraining syndrome or anything? Any issues?
Absolutely. I would go for a massage. I'll never forget, there's a massage therapist, Tom. He goes, "You do know you have tendonitis everywhere." And I was like, really? Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Group fitness instructors work hard. They're the hardest working people in the gym. Been saying
Yeah.
it for years.
Yeah. And again, if you really care about your classes, you're not just doing the class, you're not just going in there. Like when I make up an intermediate to advanced step class, I don't just make it up on the spot. That takes me time to put it all together, right? So I don't think people think about how much time goes into putting a class together. And if you're teaching 17 a week and you don't want them to be all the same so people come to your classes, then it's a lot of work. Yeah. I mean, even if you're teaching 5 a week, it's still a lot. So, yeah.
It is. And now you're on YouTube, which is phenomenal. And you said something interesting a minute ago. You're bad with time management, but you're still going live, what, 7 days a week?
6 days a week, yeah.
Okay, so at least God rested on a day. You get a day off too. So for someone who has admitted you're bad at time management, how are you planning your week classes?
So I usually put the next week together. I put the schedule together on Thursday, sometimes Friday, but usually Thursday to Friday the week before. I make up the schedule. I prep it all on the website so that people can see what it is. So like I'll make the graphic on Canva of what it's going to be. And then I go onto my website and I change the schedule and the description of all the workouts. We typically do 3 to 4 days of some sort of strength training and then cardio or, Metcon HIIT kind of stuff on 2 days a week. The step classes weren't supposed to be, they were just kind of there for fun, but they're my highest viewed. So I have it set up as a program where like the Monday 9 a.m. hour is the program. And if you're not a HIIT person or cardio kickboxing, because a lot of people find me through step, then replace the Tuesday, Thursday, whatever kind of crazy cardio that is, replace it with step if that's what you prefer. And so like the 12 o'clock on Wednesday is step and the Saturday morning is step. I know some people are still just going out there and just like, oh, I'm going to do all cardio every day because whatever, it is set up like a program. So that gets set up the week before. The new schedule gets put out on Saturday. Sunday's the day off, and then we just go for it on Monday.
How did you find your assistant? For people who are thinking about this, where did this assistant come from? What's that origin story like?
Well, she found me, first of all. This is so cool. And like it was so hard. Do I call her my assistant or is she just my friend that does this for me? So anyway, toward the beginning, I was using the little latex loop bands a lot for things. And, at that time, you couldn't really find workout equipment or you couldn't get things delivered and everything. So she says, hey, can I send you something? And I said, yeah. And she sends me, hold on, I'm just disappearing. And so she's like, these are a game changer. So she sends me the fabric booty bands or whatever, fabric resistance bands. She's like, they're a game changer. I said, all right. So she sends them to me, and I immediately start calling them Regina bands. And now that's like a thing. I actually should have them named that, like have a little thing, Regina bands. Then I guess like within a couple months, like she and I would chat a little, and she was like, hey, there's a couple typos on your website. When you publish it next week, let me know, and I'll tell you what to fix. I'm like, okay. So she was doing that for me for a couple months, and I was like, why don't I just give you access to it? And because she would be like, you got to change this, you got to change that, it sounds weird. And so then she just had access to change, whatever, edit my website for me. Literally over the as it grew, thank God, she has been a godsend. She is just, I really couldn't do it without her. But yeah, she found me, and this like relationship just, began through this, and we've become really close friends, and she really helps me keep everything kind of together.
That's really nice. So again, I think that the teaching moment for maybe the personal trainers watching us right now is Regina approached you. She gave you help for free, genuinely trying to help you. Your light bulb went off and said, hey, I think I'm just going to hire you to make my life easier. I think that's a very teachable moment for personal trainers who struggle with, how do I sell personal training and what do I do? Is there something you see or hear people say over and over again that kind of gives you the idea, oh, this is, maybe that's where their mindset is, or that's a mistake that they're commonly making?
I think a lot of people still think that, 45 minutes cardio, just because I burned this many calories during that and I only burned 200 or 150 during weights. Like, I think that is one of the things that I'm trying so hard to make people stop. People are like, oh, but I burned 500 calories in the step class or in boxing, but I only burned 150 in weights. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that I see a lot of.
Along those same lines, for that group fitness instructor who's either going on YouTube or teaching in class live in front of people, what are the upgrades you think are worth it? And are there any upgrades that you think are kind of overhyped that they probably don't need for their classes? What will make the biggest impact?
Good audio is really important. I don't know how good this is right now still, but good audio is important. And that really took me a long time because these Rode mics are great. And I say Rode, they're R-O-D-E. They are really good. They're super easy to use. The first one that I had was not Rode brand, and it was pretty good. I got it on Amazon. It was good for the time that I had it and what I needed it for. But then when I was able to upgrade, I did. So you have to remember that everything's going to come in phases, and eventually you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to splurge and spend the money on this because in the long run, it's going to be worth it, right? So audio, and again, shooting with your phone is totally fine anymore because the cameras are so good.
Yeah.
So, you don't even, you can eventually, if you want to get good cameras, get them, but to start out, I don't even think it's that big of a,
right.
Yeah. Big of a deal to do that. Yeah.
For the group fitness instructor who's watching us right now and saying, I think what you're doing is phenomenal and I want to be the next Christina Dorner. And what can I do to do this? What's your top three things? You're like, do this, and that'll get you on the road to success.
Like I said last time, just start, just do it, throw some stuff out there. I think that YouTube is actually pushing out some more smaller channels. I've been seeing them a lot in my feed. I got a girl doing step the other day that I was like, I've never seen her before, which is cool. She only had 80 subscribers or something, so that's cool. You want to be humble about it because if you go in with an attitude that you are the best, even if you are the best, people don't like that. And also choose what you're good at, right? If you're good at something, people will watch you. If you're good at it, people will watch you.